Greetings, I am Erin Patton, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patton, also known as Master L, and welcome to today's live episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast. And we are live across all social media platforms. We're live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and now TikTok. So if you want to find me, you can find me, okay? And I'm in a new location. As you can tell, the backdrop has changed a little bit. I am no longer in my old podcast studio. I'm now transitioning, and the transition is happening. And right now I'm actually in Austin, Texas, and it is so beautiful in Austin. It is so enlivening in Austin. It is just so inspiring in Austin, and I'm just very happy to be here and tuning in with all of you. So hey, to all of y'all who are hopping in the room, I see y'all getting into the room. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. Mic's looking good. Everything's looking good. Yeah. And so if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Follow me at I am Erin Patton across social media. And of course, like this video, drop me a comment, share with a friend, do all the things. I know I'm asking for a lot, but I believe that in this message, and I know that this message can support us and help us. And I know that the collective needs this. And so without further ado, I just want to jump right on in and really get into today's topic, which we're talking about and building on one of my previous podcasts around the loneliness epidemic and how it's impacting Black women. It turns out so far, that's been one of my most successful podcast episodes. I've gotten the most comments, most views, and I really wanted to double click on that, if you will, dive deeper in that area, because it seems like this is something that really is of an issue, not only in the Black women community, but also an issue that needs to be addressed, uplifted, healed, solved. And this is the work that I came here to do, y'all. My purpose is really to support myself in healing so I can support others in healing. And I'm here to do that. And so, one thing, that I want to start to kind of dive into, kind of introduce, is this part around avoiding the distorted dark masculine, or what is also known as the toxic masculine, the toxic man. And so many times we're talking about toxic masculine and toxic energy, and it's really coming from a place of woundedness. And I know toxic is sort of the trend word that people use, yet at the end of the day, people hurt people because people are hurt. Hurt people. That's the phrase. And so when we're thinking about the relationships that we get in as women, as men, and when we're hurting each other, it's really just a projection of our own pains, of our own traumas that we are mirroring in front of, our loved ones. And when we're talking about sort of avoiding this toxic masculine, it's really about taking accountability for self. And it's really nice from a marketing perspective and for clicks to say toxic masculine, all these things. But when we get into my podcast, we're going to talk about real shit. And the realness here is not blaming the man, okay? We're not blaming anybody here. We're taking accountability for our own actions, for our own self, and for our own energy, emotions, how we show up. And then as we, take care of all of that, then we'll see that reflected in the men in our lives. And until we do that, we're going to still deal with the bullshit from men because we haven't first healed ourselves. Okay. So that's really kind of the overall theme of it. And hey, thank you for saying I'm amazing. I love you. Just looking at some of the comments here. And, when we're starting to recognize these toxic patterns, it really comes from a scarcity mindset. Okay. And we're going to talk about some of I'm going to dig into some of the comments that came up too. But the scarcity mindset is part of that woundedness. And when we are wounded, then it's easy to believe that we don't have enough. When we are growing up in an environment where we're told that money doesn't grow on trees, when we're told that you can't get what you want, like life isn't fair, when we're told all these things, it starts to build these walls around our conditioning and our belief systems and our experiences. And we start to have what's called like a lack mindset, a scarcity mindset. And then when we operate from this perspective, then of course we're going to start to compete. We're going to start competing for resources, competing for men, competing for jobs, competing for positions. And that is not how we move, not in this day and time. So when we want to shift really from that scarcity mindset to that abundant mindset, and we'll get into that in a little bit later in this podcast, but I really wanted to start to set the stage for where a lot of this toxicity is coming from, okay? So now I really want to get into a little bit more of detail around this toxicity and really want to lift up 5 red flags that indicate that the masculine is toxic, okay? And when we are thinking about sort of these red flags that indicate the toxic masculinity, the first is the inconsistency between words and actions. That's a red flag. First red flag for me, because I was raised in a household, particularly from my father. He is the love of my life, of course, and he did the best that he could. But one thing that man always told me is that you need to be a man, you need to be a woman of your word. If you say something, you better stand behind it. So when there's inconsistency in how someone actually shows up and what they're saying to you, then you should know off the bat that this person cannot be trusted. And and it's just that simple, and I really want us to start to trust our instincts. And I think that's part of the thing too. As I'm going through my life journey, one thing that really held me back was me doubting myself. Okay. And when I didn't trust what I felt, what I knew to be true or saw to be true. And when you're noticing that someone's saying something like, oh, baby, I'm going to make time for you, or, oh, we're going to do this and that, and then they don't show up, or they're constantly letting you down. Like, of course, like once or twice, or people are busy, people have things going on in their lives, especially in the beginning. Okay, we understand those things and we can accept and empathize. But there are also things in terms of people's actions, that their intentions that you should be looking at 100%, and, when they're talking about I think first and foremost, when people are just speaking about like making plans, like if you want to make plans and you made plans and people back out of them time after time after time, then these are red flags that, wow, this person is inconsistent and maybe not worthy of all my energy, at least, and maybe not worthy of none of my energy at most. Okay. So we really want to start setting boundaries and paying attention to what people say, man or woman, but particularly with the masculine, what the man is saying to you, and then what he's actually doing. Okay. Because we want to be able to honor ourselves as we're women of our words, and we're wanting to show up and be, honorable and respectful and honest. We want our man to be the same. And so number 2, disrespect toward other women. I said 5 red flags, but I really got 3 red flags here. I'm sorry about that. Disrespect towards other women. Okay. So when you're seeing that this man talks bad to his mama, and or like you're at a bar or at a restaurant and this person's disrespecting the waitresses, we want to be able to be clear that this person is, oh wow, this person doesn't really have respect for women. And yeah, I like that, her. And so you really want to be able to watch how this man treats other women. Is he always flirting with women? Is he always hitting on them or touching them inappropriately or looking at them? So this is, I believe these are signals and signs, red flags that you should look for. And it's nothing to talk to the person about. It's nothing to scold the person about or diminish anyone about. This is just who the person is. And I love to be able to have this conversation, and I want you all to join me too and give me comments too and how you feel around it. Because if you're sensing like, okay, like, you shouldn't be, people can look at people or people can flirt, of course, but what is your boundary for that? What is your limitation for that? Because for me, if someone's really trying to court me and wanting to be with me, but I'm noticing that he's giving most of his attention to other women, then that's a red flag for me that maybe this person is not for the streets, but they for everybody, and maybe they're not ready for a monogamous relationship, which is absolutely what I'm looking for. And so it's not about judging. Like, we look, we listen, we don't judge, but we have to make considerations. We have to make accommodations for ourselves. We have to honor ourselves. Like, remember, this is the whole point, is the honoring of self. And so we don't want to continue to blame people. We don't want to judge men. We don't want to hate on them for being where they're at. Just know this person's not for you right now. Okay? So that's the second red flag. And the third red flag is around controlling behavior disguised as care. Controlling behavior that is disguised as care. Okay? So when someone is pretending to care what you're wearing, like, for example, like how I was like fixing my clothes and like, trying to show my cleavage and something, and the guy's like, no, cover yourself up, okay, like, I'm a woman, I'm meant to be sexual, attractive, within reason. And if this person can't handle that about you, and this is something that's pretty, I would say, authentic to who you are, then that's a red flag. I don't want anyone to minimize how I show up or judge how I show up. I feel like I carry myself very presentably. I'm a very, beautiful, sexual, sensual woman, and I want to be able to display that. That's how I attracted this man in the first place. And if he can't handle that, that's a red flag. And it doesn't mean that this person cares any more about you because they want to tell you how to dress or tell you what to post on social media or tell you where to work or anything like that. This person needs to be able to accept who you are and where you are right now, especially at this big age. If you're over 30, like, certainly you want to be able to move and operate in your own authenticity and have someone support you in that, wherever you are. And so, the other things like monitoring your location, like, this has never particularly happened to me, but it's happened to friends where they've had special apps and devices put on their phones where they're being constantly watched and monitored, and it's almost like stalking. So this is not someone that cares about you. This is someone who is damn near like a psychopath. So you want to be able to see these as red flags and say, like, okay, wow, I definitely don't want to be in an environment where I'm going to be unsafe or feeling unsafe. And so, so I say, hey, I see y'all in the room. Thank y'all for joining. And if y'all have comments, please certainly jump in, because I really am hoping that this resonates with all of you, because it's certainly coming from my own experiences and my friends' experiences. And I really feel like this is powerful work. And, people questioning your friendships, I think that is oftentimes what happens in relationships. That used to happen to me a lot, where I would start dating someone and they didn't like some of my girlfriends. So I ended up cutting off my relationships with my girlfriends for this person. So then it's like, why would I need to stop having the same friends? Why would I need to stop hanging out with other people? Complete isolation. That's scary. And that happened to me, where I was completely isolated and only with this human being, with this other guy for years. From my family, isolated from my family, isolated from my friends. And I was completely controlled, completely manipulated, and it was the most toxic relationship. So these are big red flags. I want to say that these are the 3 red flags that indicate toxic masculinity, okay? 3 red flags. And the first, again, inconsistency between words and actions. So making sure that this person, this man, this woman is a person of their word. The second piece, disrespect towards other women. How is this man treating other women? Is he respecting his mother? Is he respecting his sisters? Is he respecting women that you guys interact with when you go out? And the third is the controlling behavior that's disguised as care. Making sure that when you're courting this person, when you're hanging out with this person, that they actually support you and where you are and what you represent. So I hope that kind of you know, is really clear around those red flags. And now moving into how to break the cycle of attracting those red flags, the roots of these toxic traits really start, like I said before, in our experiences, in our childhood, really. And I want to talk a little bit about my own experience because, this is kind of like what is really going to inform sort of my thinking, my thoughts, and my recommendations. And I want to say that strong boundaries attract strong men, okay? And I want to say that again. Strong boundaries attract strong men. And I feel like oftentimes when we get in relationships, we want to be nice, we're in love, we want to open our hearts. Like this is so me, y'all. But like the John Legend, like I give my all to you. Like literally, I like give my all, like straight out the gate. Whew, and I just had to breathe on that because there couldn't be anything more dangerous for yourself than to give all of you to someone you just met. There could be nothing more dangerous than to give all of yourself to someone you just met. And so this is why having strong boundaries attracts strong men, because when you are reasonably guarding and protecting your emotions, your time, your availability, then that also allows the man to respect you and step up where he needs to step up. Okay? And I want to get on this, and please, jump in, give me what you have to say about this when you feel it. But the sex piece, particularly like hooking up like immediately, it gotta stop. I really feel like that is the number one destroyer of positive, productive, and long-lasting relationships. There is something in our culture, particularly this hookup culture, where the moment people hook up, like all love is lost, like all respect is lost. And it's just so sad because the intimate act of lovemaking should bond people together. It should actually bring people together. Yet it has been so commoditized. It has been so, I would say, pushed in our society as acceptable, that the hookup culture, that it is destroying us. And it really is the only thing people look for now in dating. Like, I just need someone to hook up with for the night. Or like the apps, even the creation of the dating apps, like hookup apps. So there is now a whole industry around this hookup culture, the destruction, the destroyer of relationships. And so I want us to really start to think about how we show up sexually in our relationships. Of course, we're not judging, but how Black women choose hookup culture. I don't actually know how all Black people choose hookup culture, but I do know that the hookup culture is very prevalent across all humans across the planet. And because I've traveled to over 30 countries, and I've hung out in so many different places, and people are hooking up the first time they meet each other everywhere. And I want particularly Black women to understand that this may not be the best course of action if you're looking for long-term relationship, if you're looking for stability, if you're looking for love. If you're looking for getting a quick quickie, or you're on a vacation and you're getting your groove back, that's one thing. But if you're really looking for something that is deep, that is intellectually stimulating, that is connecting, then the sex is really going to detract from that in the beginning, particularly. So we really want to focus on getting to know people. And this is why I say this is coming from personal experience, because, oftentimes in our childhood, so many women And I can't say myself personally, but so many women are abused, sexually abused early. And so oftentimes we equate sexual acts or sexually intimate acts with love, with an expression of love. And yes, it is an expression, but not right when we meet people that we want to have deep relationships with. And I've had to learn this the hard way. So I'm speaking from experience, y'all. Like I've definitely had my hookup times in my whole seasons. But right now it's not that. Right now it's about guarding my heart. It's about protecting my feelings, and it's about showing up and giving what I feel like is being given to me, the reciprocity. So if someone's giving me the bare minimum, you will give bare minimum energy too. And that's just how it should be. Because we only have so much energy to give, particularly as Black women who are entrepreneurs, who have careers, who have children, who have family members, who are caring for other people. We have to give our energy so many other places. And to overextend ourselves to men who aren't reciprocating that overextension or that love energy in abundance, then what's the point? And a lot of times, going back to, like I said, our young programming, we were growing up seeing the women around us do that. We're growing up seeing our mamas and our aunties go over and beyond for our daddies or their boyfriends, and the daddies and boyfriends were barely showing up, barely being in the house, barely contributing financially, barely contributing emotionally. And this is what we saw. And this is what we accepted as the status quo. Yet, now that we are a bit more educated, a bit more emotionally intelligent, we must make different decisions. And that comes in the healing and the acknowledgement of that which we saw was not necessarily the best way to do things. I don't want to say it was wrong. Again, we watch, we observe, we listen, we don't judge. We see what we grew up with. We see how our daddies treated us or treated our mamas, and we don't judge. But we do know that we deserve better, and we will have better because we hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? So what we want to do is really take a look at our childhood, our younger days, and see, like, how were men treating me? How were men treating women in my life? Did I like that? Were they disrespectful? How did my daddy used to talk to my mama? And when we start to sit with that and think about those things, then we're just like, oh, hell no. Like, from my experience, oh, hell no. I wouldn't deal with that. As much as I love my daddy, I would not deal with that. So I had to heal from it. I had to learn how to, okay, love my dad, thank him for who he was, thank him for how he showed up for me, for my family as best as he could, but ask for, pray for higher love. I didn't even know what that looked like. A lot of us don't even know what that looks like. We don't know what stability looks like. We don't know what relationships look like. A lot of us, not just Black women. And it says it right here, Black women are choosing to have sex out of wedlock, and the results of the community speak for themselves. That's me. I chose to have sex out of wedlock and have a baby out of wedlock because the alternative, being married, sucked to me personally. So King Pix, that's a very honest point. But at the same time, it's like, what was the alternative? To be in a shitty marriage? To have children with a shitty dude? That was my alternative in my mind. And also in my experience. I did not have the wherewithal, the energy, the intelligence, the experience to know that I could have better. I did desire it though. That's why I'm here today. Years later, my baby is now, my big boy is now 5 years old. 5 years later, it took me and I knew having my son was going to awaken me and it was going to be this great thing for me. That's a whole different podcast, but I knew that I needed to have a child in order to awaken something in my soul. And so I did that, and I chose to do that without getting married because I knew his dad was not the one to marry. But I knew I needed to have a child. So, Black women find ourselves in these really awkward situations, particularly at older ages. And I have to say, too, that just women in general, so that women in general are just finding themselves having to choose because either they're in bad relationships or no relationships, but they still want to have children. So, that's a whole different point, King picks when we start to get into the kids out of wedlock, because there's so many scenarios that people are finding themselves in where they want to have kids. And the men just aren't always ready for that commitment, but women are ready for kids. And so, I really want to just reemphasize that as we're moving towards trying to find that marriage, trying to find that long-term relationship, that strong boundaries attract strong men. Okay. So now I want to read some comments that came from the last podcast, because this is going to really help to I believe just add some color to the podcast, because and I wonder what King Picks will have to say since you got so much to say, King Picks. Here is a comment from the last video, and it says, okay, I'm not going to argue with you ladies, but can we at least agree that if there is a small supply of something in high demand, then it must be the prize. Okay, so I'm going to read this again. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you ladies, but can we at least agree that if there is a small supply of something in high demand, then it must be the prize? So we all know what he's talking about. If there is a high demand for intelligent Black men, and and there's a small supply, then they must be the prize. Okay, so I want to just say this, that if it's scarce, we chase. It's just simple psychology, okay? So if we're believing that there's only a small supply of men, of course, we're going to take on the behavior of chasing him, right? So that's just simple psychology. And honestly, this is how I behave. This is how a lot of women behave. Like, we look at memes across Instagram. I'm not sure how many of y'all can see a lot of these, but there are so many memes about how women are now paying for dates. They're taking their men out. They're at the ATM getting their man cash. They're driving their passenger prints. So women have really taken on the very masculine role in relationships because they feel like they can't have better. They feel like this is the best that I can do. So it's like they're settling. Okay? And we don't need to chase. The energy of chasing is an energy of scarcity mindset. Like I said, if it's scarce, you chase. It's an energy of lack. It's an energy of desperation. And again, we watch ourselves, we don't judge, but we have to see, am I in an energy of desperation when I'm talking to this man, when I'm interacting with this man? Or am I an energy of peace? Am I an energy of happiness? And I'm an energy of fullness, of fulfillment. And you must sit with yourself and watch these emotions. Because there are so many times where I've been in relationships and I'm just so angry, like, why didn't you text me back? Or why didn't you call me back? Or why didn't you take me out? You promised me you're going to do this. That's the energy of desperation. That's desperate energy. And I mean, this is pretty normal, I have to say, because we're so used to operating in fear. We're so used to not having what we want. We're so used to being let down. So almost our baseline is that. Point blank. So we must recognize where we're starting. Again, we watch, we look, we don't judge ourselves. We see where we come from, so we know where we're going. So if you see that, damn, I'm so desperate acting with this man, or damn, why do I get so upset when he doesn't call me back, or when he says he's going to do this and he doesn't do that, you must start to fill your own cup. What do I need that he is not giving me? Because it's not about anymore, for me, I would always want to have talks and conversations, and you need to improve this, and you need to improve that to these men. No, no more conversations. It's a conversation with self. What do I need? What is he not doing for me that I need? What does he not see in me that I see? And you have to start to fill your own cup. And that's how you move out of that energy of scarcity and lack into an energy of fullness. That's how you shift that focus. And, once we start to move into that, then we start to attract more of a healed masculine, essentially. And that's what we want. And you attract the healed masculine by being healed yourself. Okay? So I hope that really starts to resonate with a lot of people because, it's really challenging out here when we're finding ourselves moving from this energy of desperation. We're moving from this energy of unhappiness or lack, or I want this and he's not giving me that. We have to be able to find that within ourselves. And so, I really want to kind of move into the next comment that actually came from a woman. And it reads, Miss Patton. She spelled my name wrong, but we get the point. Patten. Try to understand that the Black woman does not look for anything spiritual in the man she desires. It is always physical and materialistic. And I'm going to read that one more time. Try to understand that Black women do not look for anything spiritual in the man she desires. It is always physical and materialistic. Okay, that was a comment that came from my last podcast. And I have to say that it created a lot of conversation. And essentially, we get blinded by the muscles and the money and then shocked when we get betrayed. So we get blinded by the muscles and the money, and then we're shocked when we're betrayed. Okay? So we have to be able to understand that, yes, you can have a fine man. You can go after a good-looking guy. But at the end of the day, what depth does he have? What more does he have to offer you besides the looks in the cash, or the gifts, or the drinks, or the dates, or the trips, or whatever it is that is materially being provided for you? Is he emotionally available? Does he care about your mind? Does he care about your future? Does he care about your kids? Does he care about your family? Does he care about you? Does he care about you? So these are questions that we have to honestly ask ourselves. And I, for so long, wouldn't really care how a guy looked. Like, I just cared about, is this person kind to me? Do they respect me? Do they love me? And yeah, I would always get the love bomb, and that would always be there in the beginning, and then it would just shift like immediately after. So we have to also watch the consistency of that character. Is this person beautiful, but they're not really showing up for us in any other way? Or is this person buying me things, but damn, I really can't get him to talk to me about anything serious? So we really want to be honest with ourselves. Like, again, like I was talking before, ask yourself these questions. Am I being fulfilled? Am I being nourished by this? Or do I feel drained by it? When I get home from a date with him, or when I get off the phone with him, am I tired? Do I feel sick? Does my head hurt? You need to start looking at, because your body speaks to you. And I talk about this a lot in my podcast about our emotions and our energy and the feelings in our body. We have to listen to our intuition. That's a very layman's term for it is intuition. What are we feeling when we're engaging with this person, with this man? Is it a fullness? Is it a happiness? Is it a joy? Or is it depletion, unhappiness, misery? Okay? So we really want to start to, in many ways, redefine what we're attracted to. and redefine what it is that fulfills us. And that can only come with self-discovery and self-exploration and really asking yourself the very specific questions like, what makes me happy? What doesn't make me happy? And noticing the difference and seeing the difference. So in many ways, you're like your own research case study. And as you're kind of moving through life and moving through relationships, you're noticing what you want and what you don't want. And then you're putting those requests into God and putting those requests into the universe. So when you're with someone and he's really hot, but he's not doing these things, you can be like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself because I've attracted this really hot man. But damn, like he don't have nothing to talk about. So God, I pray like for my next man that he can be beautiful, but he can also be really intelligent and talk to me about the things that are going on in my life and about my spiritual journey and the things that and we can travel together and explore new things together. So as much as you're talking to yourself, you can ask these things and request these things of God. And I love that namaste, you guys. Good to see you. Thank you for commenting. And I love to be able to move into these spaces where when we as women can really start to be more vocal, more open about that which we want and that which we desire and that which we deserve. And that comes with more in-depth self-exploration and knowing that which you want and that which you deserve. You have to know yourself in order to know these things. Okay? So now we're going to move into, once you start to get all healed and really start to attract these men, what is it that the qualities of this healed man? So now we're going to look at 3 signs that he is actually healed. Okay? So we're going to now go through a few things that, this guy, 3 things that make sure that this guy's actually healed and they're not just hiding red flags. Okay. He's not just hiding the red flags. And so the first sign that he is actually healed is he is consistent, even under pressure. Okay. Consistently respectful, consistently communicative, consistently available, even under pressure. And this is great because life ain't easy. This life is very challenging. And we want to make sure that as we're dating or spending time with people that, we can go through good times and bad times together and it be okay. And so we want to, watch like when things get emotional, like whether it's disagreements or, or whether it's disagreements between you, that it's not, there's not personal attacks, that this person is really, able to communicate his emotions. You're able to communicate your emotions without feeling scared, without feeling, like you're in a pressure cooker yourself. So you really want to be aware of how respectful this individual is, particularly in times of challenges. So is this person going off on you or blaming you or gaslighting you? Then those are not, signs of healing. However, if this person takes accountability, if this person's listening, if this person's asking, well, how did this make you feel? Then these are signs that, wow, this person's healed. Is there anything that I can do to help? These are signs that, wow, this person's not, this person's good. Okay. These are green flags. Okay. And then the second piece is transparency around his own growth. And I love to hear this from a man, like him talking about going to therapy or fasting and praying or being celibate or his journey with his children, or being a father. So we really want to be with men that are transparent around their own growth. I've talked to so many men about these things that's really beautiful, but men who've gone through addictions and addiction recovery or abuses themselves and how they came out of it, or bad marriages and how they healed from it. So it is really nice to be able to find, as you're doing your own self-exploration and your own self-discovery, a man that's doing the same. Because if you're wanting to be what we call, like in the church times, like equally yoked, then you want to be able to find a man that's going to be able to meet you where you're at. So if you're doing the self-work, if you're doing the self-exploration, if you're journaling, if you're doing all of these things, what's your man doing? Is he committed to that same level of personal growth? That's critical. Green flag all the way. And then the third green flag is actions aligning with words. Words aligning with actions. And we brought this up as a red flag before. That was like the first red flag for me. But being a man of your word. Being a man of your word, and when you're not able to honor it, being able to be apologetic, sincerely, being able to make up for it, sincerely, and just standing on your business, standing on business. And I know that's rare, but here, we rare too. I'm rare. Spiritual, beautiful, intelligent, caring women are rare. So we looking for rare men too. So you want to make sure that you're finding someone whose actions align with their words. And make sure that he's demonstrating consistency in that as well. And he follows through on his commitments. And over time, as you're starting to see these actions aligning with words, there's trust that starts to be built. And when there's trust, then there's love. And when there's love, there's connection. And when there's connection, there's opportunity for purpose, alignment and purpose. And then that's what we're looking for in our relationships with men is purpose-aligned relationships. How can we work together to be better for ourselves and better for the world? That's really what the goal is. And so really, as we're doing this purpose-aligned work, we want to be making sure that we are cultivating our own energy. And I spoke to this before, but I just want to reiterate it again, that we must be able to heal ourselves as we are moving towards these relationships with men. What are we doing to heal our daddy wounds? What are we doing to heal our mama wounds? And the relationships that we saw growing up, what worked? What didn't work? What do we want to see better? What do we want to see improve? If it helps you, journal about this, write about this, talk it out with your friends, talk it out with your mama, with your aunties. If that is an opportunity for it, that would be fantastic if I had an opportunity to do that. Yeah, that hasn't presented itself per se, but it would be beautiful to start exploring new ways, like I said, redefining what relationships can look like for you. What would be your wildest, most beautiful dream relationship? What would that look like? What would he look like? And start to call that forth for your life. And one thing that I would always say, and we'll get into it a little bit later because I'm going to do a meditation with us because I really feel like we could really use one here, is just like around my divine mate, calling forth my divine mate. And I would say, I call forth my divine union mate as God would have it be. I call forth my divine man as God would have it be. And so as I call forth this divine mate, honestly, men are being attracted into my life that I'm meeting. They're really great guys. I'm meeting some really great guys. And I just have to sit and wait for the time that I can see that, wow, this man is from God. He is my one. So I'm in this journey with all of you. So I'm doing this healing work. I'm doing this teaching, but I'm right here with you all. And, I really feel like this is, the next level in our success journey as entrepreneurs, as career women, is really attracting our perfect man. And I believe in the possibility of it. I believe in the truth of it. And we can have that. And as we're doing that healing work, we're really starting to cultivate our own energy so that we can attract that effortlessly. Like I said, I'm praying to God for these men, and I'm getting great dates. I'm getting great friendships. I'm getting great work relationships with men because I'm carrying that energy, that love frequency that attracts the man of that same frequency. And as we're doing that work, we want to also start to see ourselves as the queens that we are. I know we call each other queen, we say, hey, queen, but are we really feeling that energy for ourselves? What does a queen feel like? What does she look like? How does she walk? How does she talk? How does she sit? How does she eat? So when you're out in these streets, how are you carrying yourself? Like a queen? Because that's how you're supposed to be if you want to attract your king, right? Like a queen. So you have to know your worth. And as you start to cultivate your energy and do your healing work and do your self-discovery and know what you want, know what you don't want, know what you desire, you're talking to God, and then you're being able to carry that energy with you everywhere you go. Okay? So I hope that this is all resonating with you guys. Drop me a comment, shoot me a DM. Let me know how this is feeling for you all. And right now, I'm just going to move us into a guided meditation. And this will be a great opportunity to kind of synthesize everything that I've talked about today and really start to release and remove the toxic masculine energy, the toxic relationships, so you can call forth more of that love vibration, more of that love energy into your life. So I want you to go ahead and get into a comfortable position. Right now, I'm just seated, on the floor, Indian style. But if you're in a chair, just make sure your feet are flat on the floor, your back is straight. If you're in your car, just be somewhere safe, turn on the music, chill out, relax, chillax, and just start breathing through your nose, in through your nose, out through your nose. And if it feels safe for you, close your eyes and breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. And I want you to really breathe normally. Like, I don't want this to be anything forced, anything extra. Just breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And I want you to start to feel your body, feel the energies in your body. Do you feel tense anywhere in your body, in your face, your jaw, your shoulders, your chest? Just start to relax your body. Shake a little bit if you need to. Big exhale if you need to. And really start to bring your awareness to your heart center. Start to feel your heart. And as you breathe, imagine a warm golden light gathering in your heart center. And with each breath, this golden light grows stronger. And it starts to illuminate any patterns that no longer serve you. So it starts to shine a light on that controlling behavior, or that manipulative behavior, or that lying behavior. It starts to shine a light on all of that may be gathered here in your chest. And start to think of a relationship pattern, maybe one I mentioned or another one, that you're ready to release. Perhaps it's accepting disrespect, it's ignoring the red flags, or it's diminishing yourself to make other people feel comfortable. What is it? And I want you to see this pattern very clearly. Again, without judgment, and just simply observe it with compassion. Now, with your next exhale, imagine this pattern dissolving into smoke. And watch as it leaves your body and it's carried away with your breath. And I want you to inhale fresh energy and exhale this old pattern. I want you to inhale possibilities, opportunities, and exhale limitation. Inhale your power and exhale what no longer serves you. Now feel the lightness that comes to you as you release these attachments. And notice the space this creates within you, within your heart center. a space for something healthier to grow. Now, in this open space, begin to visualize your higher self, like your best self, your most beautiful self, your most successful self. The version of you that lives from wisdom, from strength, and from authentic love. See yourself standing tall, radiating confidence and inner peace. This version of you knows your worth without question. This version of you chooses relationships that honor your wholeness. Notice how your higher self moves through the world, how she speaks, how she sets boundaries, how she gives love, and how she receives love. Feel yourself merging with this image, recognizing that this is not some distant idea, but your authentic nature. You are already this person. Now, with each breath, remember who you are, who you truly are, who you are more fully. And from this place of alignment, begin to set clear intentions for the relationships that you wish to create. Visualize the quality of the connection that you desire. I want you to feel how it would feel to truly be seen, to truly be respected, and to truly be cherished. Without focusing on specific faces or names, I want you to feel the energy of mutual growth. I want you to feel the energy of support. And I want you to feel the energy of the authenticity of the relationships that you're calling in. Now, I'd like you to repeat a simple phrase that captures your intention for this relationship. And I'm just going to choose one. And I want you to say after me, I deserve and attract love that honors my worth. I deserve and I attract love that honors my worth. One more time. I deserve and attract love that honors my worth. Now, continue to breathe normally in through your nose, out through your nose. Bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, shake your head. This was a really powerful meditation. So y'all, if you were distracted or just listening, I really highly encourage you to go back to this, replay it, whether you need to do it every day or once a week. But it's a beautiful opportunity to continue to release patterns that no longer serve you, release thought patterns, release experiences that no longer serve you, so that you can attract what we want, what we desire, what we deserve. Okay, what we say, I deserve and attract love that honors my worth. Okay, so write that down, hold on to that. And certainly, I invite you to DM me, leave me a comment if this resonates with you. I love to hear from you guys. You guys are so amazing. And this was such a great episode. I see some of you in the room, leaving comments, hanging out. Like, this has been such a great episode. If you want more information on how you can call forth more love in your life, more abundance in your life, certainly DM me at I am Erin Patton across social media channels. Also, I have lots of resources on my website, erinpatton.com. And I'm here every week on my Meta Business Millennial podcast. And you can catch me here to just tap in with high vibrational content, with inspirational content for Black women specifically. And of course, share this with a friend if you feel so called, because we need this and we need to build our loving sisterhood community brick by brick, day by day. And I just can't wait to see how it unfolds, okay? And so I want to thank you all again for tuning in, for sharing this time and space with me. It's been such a pleasure and honor. I love you all so much. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatton.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.